Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Sabira, aka Sabythesimmer, and today I am doing a wedding venue. So we have a game pack coming and there has been no release date yet or like anything other than a little kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, a little, I don't know what it's called, but like I think it's on the Sims website and it just says I do as like one of the game packs coming up. So it's a bit of a teaser, but we haven't had like a trailer or any like confirmation of what it looks like or anything like that. And I haven't done a wedding build in ages, and I also never do wedding builds in Oasis Springs. So I thought I would try something different. So on the screen you will see a reference image for what I'm doing right here right now, and I don't even know how to describe it or what it would actually be called, but I just thought I would make this small little area where you actually get married, where you have like the wedding ceremony, and then we have like an area for the food like to eat, and then we have like a dance floor, and then inside the main building is a kitchen, and you have a set of like toilets in there as well. I think there's like 4 toilets I did. And then you go upstairs and it's kind of like a honeymoon suite or just like somewhere where you can stay. I've made it a rental, so you can go there, stay the day before your wedding and even the day after your wedding, and that way I just felt like you was already on the lot. You can stay over, you can prepare yourself for the wedding, all that kind of stuff. You can play out a bachelor and like bachelorette room or whatever the case may be, because there's 2 rooms upstairs. So yeah, you could do whatever you want with the rooms upstairs, but I just thought it would be a cute idea to do it as a rental, and then you can actually still have weddings at a rental, which is great. I don't know how well they work. I don't know if I've ever done it before. I think I've just had people over before when I had when I was at a rental, but I'm not sure if a wedding works well. I mean, weddings need more anyway. So I'm glad that we're getting a game pack that includes weddings, and I'm excited to see what it actually comes with. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like a wedding planner as like a career maybe. I don't know if we're actually going to get a wedding lot type. I really wish we do. Like, I really hope we do, because trying to get weddings to just function the way you want them to is so frustrating in The Sims. I hate doing it on like lounges and bars, because random townies will show up and I don't want them there at my wedding. Like, I want my wedding to be the guests that I invite. So yeah, that's frustrating. I left in a lot of the process behind this build because I don't want to try to like cut out the bits that aren't going to be in the last kind of shot, but I left everything on the lot instead of just like bulldozing it and starting again. So there's loads of different boxes and loads of different pieces that change. So this area is the only area that kind of stays the same. It just changes slightly, but it stays pretty much the same when you see that process. But I tried to do like a dine-in area or dance floor area, but just the position of everything didn't work well. I needed this to be more in the corner and like at the diagonal, so that the main building can fit a bit better, and also the dance floor kind of dining area fits better as well. Also, apologies, this video is up a day later. I don't live alone, so it means that sometimes I have to work around what is happening around the house so that I can make sure it's quiet enough for me to do voiceovers. And I'm also trying to have like set a new routine, so it's trying to figure out what days I'm recording, what days I'm editing, all that kind of stuff, and I'm still trying to figure it out, and so it makes more sense for me, and it's so that I have things kind of like pre-done. And the only thing is, like, especially because we have like kits and packs and stuff coming out, like sometimes I want to be able to talk about things that's happening as they're happening, so I don't want to do a lot of pre-recording and then it just doesn't make sense because the timing is not right. So I might just end up doing some like recording of like builds and things like that, and then do voiceovers as and when they're going up, so then they don't feel so kind of like spaced out. And I'm trying to figure out how everyone else does it. Like, how does everyone else plan out what days they build, what days they edit? Because this build was like 6 hours of footage and it took me like 2 days to finish it. I didn't finish it all in the same day. I actually came back to it because I wasn't sure with the main building, so I thought, you know what, Sabrina, just come back to it, you'll feel better when you come back to it. So I'm doing that. That took like 2 days to finish. I finished it literally the day I was meant to upload it, and then I was trying to edit it all on, no, did I finish it on Tuesday? No, I finished it Monday. And then Tuesday I was like, okay, I'll just edit it, but forgetting that speed builds, as much as like they're easier to edit, they still take a lot of time. I'm pretty sure I started editing this video yesterday at like midday, I think it was, and then I finished it, and I still edited more today as this is going up as well, so it took forever to edit. And I don't know if it was just procrastinating, I don't know what it was. I mean, I do know what it was. I was tired. That time of the month is coming up, so I just get really sleepy, so I was struggling to stay awake, so I just had a chai tea to Needed some caffeine. I'm not a coffee drinker, so the only caffeine I have is tea, and I've cut it out anyway because I don't want to like increase my anxiety. So I stopped drinking like caffeine in my tea ages ago, good like year or two ago. But we've run out, so I have to get some more. And I just, because I couldn't keep myself awake, like my eyes were closing as I was editing, I knew I needed to finish it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have a chai tea. I don't know about you guys, but when I have caffeine, it makes me grind my teeth, and it just makes me feel anxious. So I just don't like that feeling, so I just cut it out because I don't want to feel like I'm just grinding my teeth all day. That's not something I normally do. It's only literally when I have caffeine, which is quite frustrating. But yeah, I don't really need it, to be honest. It's fine. So I know I needed, not needed, but I wanted some kind of water feature. I wanted water involved, and I was tempted to just make like a pond or something with the kind of pond tool that we have. But I decided to go with like a fountain and just put it right underneath the building. So this is different. This, like you would have seen, the building is completely different to the one it was before, because I just wasn't feeling the shape. I wasn't happy with it, so I just was like, let me just go from the top of my head, because I was using like reference images, but trying to like replicate that in the Sims wasn't easy. So I just thought, you know, I'm going to scrap it and I'm just going to go with my imagination. And I'm actually happy with the way that the main building turned out. There's things that I definitely changed, and I think it was hard because I was using limited packs, so I only used city living, cats and dogs, and obviously base game. So it was pretty difficult to like make sure it looks the way I want it to look and like fits into the world and everything like that when you have limited packs. But I wanted to make it a limited pack build just because I don't feel like a lot of my builds are always limited pack, and I'm struggling to do base game like residential builds. I'm struggling, especially if it's like a starter home. I'm struggling with that, so that video is taking forever to come because I'm struggling with what I want the home to look like. I could do a base game build if there's no budget restrictions, but if it's a starter, I struggle so much. But I love the idea of having like this walkway. I don't know what the actual technical term would be, but like this walkway where you can look down and you can see everything happening around you. I just thought it was a really cute kind of like feature for this build, and I kind of saw it in my head of like, okay, you're getting ready for your the wedding upstairs, and then you might walk through the walkway and all the guests can see you walk past, and it's like, oh my gosh, you look so pretty, you look so pretty, whoever it is. And I don't know, or you can just have that view when you're getting yourself ready, see what the guests are doing, what they look like, how they're dressed, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't think when was the last time I've been to a wedding? I don't think I've been to a wedding recently, so I have no idea what actually happens. But this is kind of the structure that I went with, and I just like moved things around as and when I felt like they needed to be moved, and I felt like that helped. I think as well I was a bit too restrictive with myself at first. I was like, I want the boxes, I want the, not the boxes, like the bump outs to be this way and this way, and then when it actually got down to it, I was like, you know what, it's okay if I have to pull things in or out. I just do it as and when I feel it, and it works out fine that way. I guess, yeah, I feel like it worked out fine. I don't know why the voiceover is such a struggle today. Yeah, this shouldn't, like, I don't know why the voiceover has been a struggle. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, I think it's just like remembering to talk through this build and trying to think of like what else to talk about. But yeah, all I'm doing now is I wanted a little greenery, so I just decided to like raise up on a platform. I actually put the platform down at the end anyway, but where the kind of glass windows are along the walkway, on the outside there's a little, almost like a flower bed, but it's just got like those succulent kind of plants in it, or like cactus kind of plants with the flower on it, the little round ones. And that's what I did. And then with the stairway, I just wanted it to be tucked in a bit better, so I just ended up like putting out the wall a bit more and creating a bit of space for the stairs to move in. And now I'm thinking about it, I could have actually put the wall completely across where the stairs were and just put a little archway or a door so that it was a bit more sectioned off. But I think it's fine that it's a bit open. I mean, yeah, it's a rental lot, so the only people that will be in this lot are the people that are staying there or that have been invited there. And like as you're playing in, you can just lock doors for whoever you want to lock the doors for. So if you didn't want guests going upstairs, you could just lock the doors for everyone but the people staying at the rental. I believe you can still lock doors at rentals. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure. I think I've only ever like invited guests around once whilst I was on like vacation or on a rental lot. So yeah, I say vacation, I don't have any of the vacation worlds, so anything that I do where I go on like a holiday or a vacation, I just use these rental homes that I build or just find some in the gallery. To be honest, I think I only actually use the ones I build because I have like a specific idea in mind, so I just build that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. I don't think I really find a lot on the gallery, or don't really look for much on the gallery when it comes to rentals. I just kind of build the ones I want to put on the gameplay. But yeah, the roofing on this was a struggle because there's so many different bits that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to stretch this out. I don't want this clipping into the wall. I don't want this clipping into here. So there's a lot of maneuvering and a lot of roof pieces, to be honest. Like, when I think about it, there was a lot of roof pieces. And yeah, I wanted to match the columns, so I ended up going with the dark tone and the white. And then the walls, I painted like this yellowish tone, and then I didn't like it because I don't feel like it really matched in with the columns, and I wanted more white. As it is a wedding venue, I just feel like white signifies wedding. I don't know why, but it just does to me. So I just ended up painting white. I just remembered, but I said this is a limited build, and it is city living and cats and dogs. And then when I was building this the first time around, the main building, I put the what is it? Where are they from? The toilet stalls. I think it's Discover University. I put them down, and then I was looking through my library, and I was like, why does one of the saves for this build say university? And I was like, oh yeah, the stalls aren't from city living, they're from university. So I'm glad I remembered that, because I'm saying it's a limited pack, and then I would have put the stalls in there and been like, yeah, it's just city living and just cats and dogs. And it's like, no, it's not. I'm trying to think of what other builds, what other packs would have gone well with a world like Oasis Springs and with the vibe of this, because I kind of went with the theme of like this Mexican style. Like, it's kind of inspired by some of the pictures I saw, which was like a Mexican wedding venue, and they were beautiful. Like, I just was looking at it like, this is stunning, and trying to think of how to create something that well structured in The Sims, and I just, yeah. And I think I'm a bit nervous at this as well, because like, I don't think I've uploaded any of my wedding builds to YouTube before. Like, anytime I build them, it's just for my own gameplay. So I just put them up in the gallery if anyone wants them. And I've done a few. I've done like a castle, like a small castle. What else have I done? I think I've done like a barn. Was it a barn? I think it was like a barn that I did, and I used a lot of like debug items because it was base game, and I was really proud of the way that it turned out, to be honest. Really proud of that. But yeah, I hope we get the idea of like a honeymoon. I hope they add like a honeymoon type of event for like the events that you can plan, things like that, so that we can actually have like maybe like a checklist of things you can do in your honeymoon, like relax, appreciate your spouse, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, just something like that. I've never tried to create my own and see what I could like do, but you can't really create your own events, can you? No, I think it's more so like holidays you can invent yourself, but I don't know if I would create a holiday for the honeymoon. I could, I don't know. But yeah, I made a simple kitchen. I didn't put clutter in it because in my mind I'm like, it's a rental, that it wouldn't be very personalized. It's going to be very simple because it's just a kitchen that would be used for the catering staff on the wedding day, and then also you might have caterers there for when you're just staying there the day before and the day after your wedding, or either or, whichever one you want to do. So I just left it really simple because I was like, the only people that's going to use that kitchen really is the staff, and then you might use it yourself if you don't want to have staff there. Kind of like an Airbnb kind of vibe. But yeah, I just realized as well as I was editing this, I didn't show me putting the wallpapers on this build and on the like kind of wedding chapel area bit, if that makes any sense. But I just remembered, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't actually show you guys me painting those walls, and I think I didn't get that footage because there was a moment when I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be recording. But I'm just glad I'm getting better at this, and there wasn't huge chunks of footage cut out because I forgot I was recording. And we do a lot of landscaping for this build, and what I've started to do is just put out a bunch of stuff from debug so that I don't have to keep going into category. I mean, I did have to go back in it anyway because I didn't have enough stuff, but just putting out a bunch of stuff that I want to use, placing it randomly at first, and then going back and like placing things exactly where I want them to be. And as you can see here, I'm doing that yellow toned wallpaper, but I actually changed it to white. And it's not the just plain old flat kind of looking. It has a bit of texture to it, which is what I wanted, because I didn't want it to look too flat. And considering it's Oasis Springs, you wouldn't really have like a completely flat paint, I don't think. I feel like it would have to have texture to it. I don't know why, but that's just the vibe I get. I think it's kind of inspired by the builds that I see like around the world, that you kind of just know there's a bit of texture. There's not just a flat wall. But yeah, I've just used the combination of that white, and then I would go in with the, I think it's, what is it? I don't know what it's called, but it's just a stone wallpaper, and I go in with that for just some accent, just to switch things up a bit. this is like the wedding area, so you can go there, get married. What am I saying? You can go there and get married. And I put a little table, like an accent table behind it. Like I said, I can't remember the last time I was at a wedding. I don't think I've been to one recently. But I always know well, not always, but I know that if you go to like a traditional wedding, they sign a registry, I think it is, or sign something. So I don't know if it's a wedding certificate. I don't know what it is, but they sign stuff, okay? So I've put the little clutter book, do you know the open book with a pen in it? I put that there, and like a vase of flowers. I just put that on the accent table in the back, and that is kind of me signaling like, yes, this is when you get married, and you sign whatever you sign when you get married. Let me know in the comments what it is that people sign when they get married. I know some people sign things, but depending on like what the wedding style is, I don't know if it's the same for every wedding. Well, it won't be the same for every wedding, but I don't know the technical terms. And as you can see, I'm jumping from area to area in this build. Like, I just realized how much I jumped from one area to the other. Like, I was literally just in the wedding chapel, and now I'm adding wallpapers to the inside and the outside. Like, pick something, Sabyra. But it's just because, like, my mind will be all over the place. So I'm just, like, doing one thing, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, let me do this. And once I've started the wallpapers upstairs, I just like, oh, okay, let me do the bathrooms upstairs. Let me do this. And then before you know it, I'm doing a whole bunch of things that I don't need to be doing. I could have cut out that piece where I was just jumping around randomly. But yes, this is the dining area. So I've got the little round table for the wedding cake. In the shots that you'll see at the end, I just made the simple white cake, but I really like regret it. Like, I really wish I just did the I think it's like a 3-tiered white and black cake, because it would have just looked so much more grand. I think that white cake looks so boring, and especially with everything being white as well, I think it just blended in way too much. But I do regret doing that. But it was just for display purposes. It wasn't really for anything other than letting you know that I just put that table there so that you could put your wedding cake on it. And I hope it's like, it works fine. I know that the tables will work fine, like there's space for them to sit down. But I know with like the wedding cake, they cut the cake and then they go over to their partner and feed them the cake. So that never happens the way I want it to, in terms of like, I want them to be next to each other so they're not walking so far to find their partner to give them wedding cake. It just wouldn't be realistic to like find your partner. If you're cutting the cake, you're normally cutting the cake together. So this, I did like a little white carpet kind of walkway. Again, you're gonna see me jump from one section to the other. Like, I started doing this, and then I was like, oh, let me just pull out the rest of the stuff for the landscaping, and then I go around putting everything around for the landscaping, and then how many minutes later I come back to actually finish this little walkway, because I was like, you know, I want something to signify this is where you walk along to the wedding arch. And I got a couple of seats there as well. And I didn't really think much about like it being comfortable to like sit down in this chair and like have your feet on the sand, but I don't think it's gonna be like super uncomfortable or anything like that. And like, knowing like the rest of the world is just stone, and like you got the wood on the like dance floor, the bar area, and the like seating area, I was a bit like, it's okay. I don't think it's much of a problem. Like, realistically, I don't think sand's gonna get like tracked, what's the word, like dragged around the whole place. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. But yeah, there's me putting down a bunch of debug items, and then I go back and actually place them properly. I didn't need so many succulents up there. I don't know why I did that, because I just did it like as on each square, so I really didn't need as many as I put down. And I'm loving, cats and dogs have these plants, I don't know what they were called, and I'm gonna show you when I start dragging them around. But this one, like, I used it in a recent build where I did like a craftsman house for the current household that I'm playing with, and I saw them and I was like, I'm in love with them. They're in debug, and they have so many swatches on it. I was like, what? I don't think I've seen a debug item with so many swatches on it before, so I was just gassed. And then I saw it and I was like, yeah, I have to use it. And I don't know if it fully fits into the world, but when I was using it, I was like, you know what, I really like the way it looks. So I just pulled out a bunch of them, a bunch of like the big leafy plants. I never know what the names are of things. A lot of these, so that I could really fit everything in and make it look like it was all meant to be together. And the way I've kind of learnt to do landscaping is to just do like repetitive clusters. So like, I'll use the same plants in every other area and then just like move them around, alternate sizes, so that it gives it the continuity that you kind of would have in a realistic world. But like, so it doesn't look completely copy and pasted. I just move them around however I want them to be. So I don't normally do landscape in this green and this like flourishing in Oasis Springs, like I always just go with the same kind of succulent dry plants. The plants that like you see in the world, I use those ones. But I just loved the way it turned out because it just looks so green. It looks so like full of life. This is a great place, I would say, in the summer to get married. I think in the winter or the spring it would be quite dull because everything would be a bit brown or just a bit discolored. Depending on what the weather would be like in spring in The Sims. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's a bit dull, so I'm not sure. But yeah, just trying to place everything around. I've put these trees there, and then I put oh yeah, that one keeps disappearing like when you zoom out. So there were times where I was like, I forgot it was even there, and then I'd have to zoom out to be like, okay, where am I placing everything else? But I would just group all the plants around, move them around, and then go in again to like move them in a way that I specifically wanted them. And like when they were next to the platforms, I just put the platform down and then carry on with the landscaping and then put the platform back up again. I'm kind of glad that they don't spring back up when the platform goes up. It's just a bit annoying sometimes when you just want to landscape things freely and not have to worry about putting the platform up and down. But one of the things I've like learned to do is like if I'm going to put things on a foundation or if I'm going to use a platform, I'll just decorate and do the landscaping first and then raise everything up as and when I want it to. But I don't know why, when I'm building for myself, it's just so much easier. Like I'm able to think of things a bit easier. But when I have to build and record, I just get so stressed. Well, not even stressed, but I just get so like aware that I'm filming that sometimes I don't do things in the way that would like make my life easier. So like landscaping first and then lifting up platforms. I didn't think of that. I kind of felt like I wanted to have the foundation of the building sorted. It's not a huge problem. It wasn't, you know, terrible. And these lights, like I love them, but when I use them, I always forget how to use them or like how to move them around very well. Like, and I wish I just plugged in the keyboard so I could just use the Alt key and like move things around a bit easier. But I like the struggle, I guess, so I just didn't bother do that. And then I forgot, if you just like turn them around and like have this stick end kind of like in the loose end of the other pole, like they kind of snap in well. So I just wish I would have remembered that earlier and then done that, because it just would make things easier. And I actually changed, like I used like the white lanterns and lights for the dance area just to light it up, but also to give it that kind of wedding theme with like the white lights and things like that. And I felt it fit in with the world and the aesthetic of this wedding venue as well. And it does creep in a little bit into the dining area, so I did try and hide it. I believe I still tried to hide it with a balloon with like the balloons that you get in base game. I just wanted them to like fit well, and they didn't. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna make do with what we got, and just try and hide it or try and kind of move it out a bit more so that it didn't stick into the wall so much. But yeah, here's me putting some more stuff out of debug, because like I said, I needed more stuff once I was done. And once I was in debug, I was like, actually we could do with some more of this plant and this plant. And then I ended up pulling out this little pink bush, and it just gives it some color, which is nice, because I think it was very green and very white, but I think adding in that little bit of pink really helped. I feel like it's been ages since I've done a speed build as well, and that's probably why it was a bit different. Like I can't remember the last time I did a speed build. Actually I do. It was like the wedding market, the Winterfest market. That was ages ago, because that was like earlier December. So yeah, it's been a while since I've done a speed build, and I miss it. I wish I would do more, but like I said, I'm struggling with the base game one, so I think I'm gonna like give myself a little break, because trying to do base game like starter home builds, which I said I wanted to do because I did a poll and asked you guys what kind of base game builds you want, and I've done a base game family home, and that is one of my most viewed videos, so I know base game builds are something people want to see here, and I just have to actually do them. I have to like figure out what I want it to look like, and yeah, I think it's just a struggle. It's so much easier when I'm not recording, because I'm just able to be free, and I just have to remember that I can still record and just act like I'm not recording and that maybe that will make things easier for me. But yeah, I ended up changing that kind of wall hanging thing. I put it there, and then I was like, wait, that's a pumpkin in the middle of it, and it looks scary, like it's supposed to be for Halloween. And I don't know if it was meant to be for Halloween or if that's just the decoration that was on it, but I was like, yeah, it's not giving me wedding vibes, so I just changed it out. I put the City Living like garage wall painting, and I put it there, and I was like, but why did you put it this bro? Why would you put that there? Ended up just changing it for like a painting that, you know, kind of looked like it was probably similar in terms of like the world that we was already in, like Oasis Springs. But yeah, I don't know. So I did 2 rooms, and the way I did it was like I just copied and pasted everything into each room. So it feels a bit jumpy because I just showed 1 room, I just showed 1 bathroom. But the way I was actually building it was like if I put a toilet down in one, I would go to the other side, put the toilet down. So it was hard to edit because I'm like, you can tell that I'm not in the same exact room. Like you can tell one time I'm in the left side and the other time I'm on the right side. So apologies if that makes you feel dizzy. But it was just trying to figure out, I mean, it's all a learning experience. Like I know next time, like I'm gonna have to do each room separately just so it moves better, or that if I am gonna do it, I just have to be aware of like when it comes to editing, which sometimes I forget that, yeah, so you have to edit this, so like be aware of like how many times you're spinning the camera around and doing this and that. So yeah. Note to self, I add these curtains in, and I added fans everywhere because I just felt like Oasis Springs is a warm world, so you're definitely gonna need some fans. The only thing I added off camera was like I added the what are they, I don't know what they're called, but in the base game, like wall decorations I think they are, for like the outside. I've got the little kind of caged balcony that matches in with like the Oasis Springs kind of furnishings, and I did that like after I took the screenshots and after I did the video clip, so you don't actually see it, you only see it on the gallery. Which I was like, oh, I added after. I was like, oh, I really forgot to add the clips in, but I was like, it was only a small detail. I think it really added to the front of the build, but in terms of like having that footage there, I was like, it's okay. I don't think you missed out on much, and I'm letting you guys know that that's something that's slightly different when you see it on the gallery. But yeah, it looks cute on the gallery, it does. And I put these little wedding related photos up. Yeah, I hope the game pack comes with like more like wedding related decor and things like that. I want like portraits and I don't know, like words, Simlish wedding signs, and just so many different things. Like I'm so like, I've never been excited to see what's in the game pack or anything like that, because normally like there's a teaser so you get a better idea of what's coming, as opposed to just this idea of like it's a game pack, and I mean it's a wedding pack and that's all we know. Like it's just hard to like get fully excited, because I know the Sims sometimes it's like they just miss it, they miss the mark sometimes at this moment. So I'm like, who thought of this, and why wasn't like this included, or why was this missing? Like it just feels like sometimes it's a bit unfinished. And don't get me wrong, I know there's loads and loads of people involved in like the production of the game and like checking to make sure things work and everything like that. Sometimes I'm just a bit like, oh, just if this was like this or this was like that. Like it's always like small little things, but you're just like, if those small little things were done, like everything would work better. Like everything would be better. But we're gonna start coming up to the end soon. I'm just gonna finish up with some terrain paints. I just used the kind of like sandy one, and it had little flowers in it, and I don't normally like that terrain paint because it makes me feel itchy. I felt like it would just add something a little extra to the landscape and some depth from the shading, and also like the little flowers would just add something to the ground, so it wasn't so kind of like planted in. It just felt a bit more natural and seamless. But we had some outdoor lights, and then I realized that the light in the dining area is like quite dim as well, so I ended up changing that. But this is what I was saying about the little lantern and white lights that I was using. Like I struggled to place things around, and as you can see, what am I doing with half the things I'm doing? But I've remembered that you can actually like, it snaps a lot easier if you just snap the end into, if you snap like the pole end into the end of it. But you can see it's creeping into the wall, so I've had to like slowly, like swiftly move it out, like just slightly move it out, but it's still poking through a little bit, so I did end up just putting balloons there. So we are coming to the end of the video, and you can find this build on the gallery. My gallery ID is Sabythesimmer, and I just end up finishing up things that I felt like I forgot to add, or like things just to add some more detail. So I added some outdoor bins, added a bit of lights to this dance area, the dining area, some pictures, some plants outside as well, and I added in like fireflies where the landscaping is. So if you have the window at night, hopefully that gives you some like cute aesthetics and some cute vibes. And I added water. I added fish to the water. And yeah, if you liked this build, do leave a like. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the up and coming game wedding related game pack? Let me know in the comments. But until then, bye.